Welcome to our presentation. I am Esmond Thomas and my group members are Michelle Harris, Dwayne Domingo, Fabian Torres, Joy and James, and Nayan Emmanuel. Today we will be presenting on teaching methods in special education. In the dynamic landscape of education, various teaching methods have evolved over the years. Teaching learning methods encompass a wide array of approaches and strategies that educators use to facilitate the process of knowledge transfer and skill development in students. These methods focus on creating an effective and engaging learning experience where students are actively involved in their education, leading to better comprehension and retention of information.
So I will be looking at the response of intervention and the discrete trial teaching methods. So the response to intervention, also known as the multi-tiered system of support, is a system of support that schools put in place to cater for students with disabilities. This system of support allows students to learn and work at their level. This teaching method was introduced and developed by Preston Angela I, Charles M. Stecker, Pamela M. within the 2004 reauthorization of the Individuals with Disabilities Act, IDEA. Two objectives of response to intervention teaching method are: 1. To identify the learning disabilities or any other behavioral problems and find solutions to these problems to ensure that each child receive quality and equal education opportunities. 2. It calls for the implementation of a differentiated curriculum with differentiated instruction methods that caters for these learners. How is RTI used? RTI is used to measure students' skills and uses this information to decide which intervention to use. It also aims to make identification of struggling learners and provide them with the necessary support they need to thrive in school. Discrete trial. Discrete trial is an educational strategy based on the principles of applied behavior analysis. This takes the form of scaffolding method, which means that teacher breaks skills into smaller components and uses these skills to teach learners individually. This teaching method was developed by Dr. Ivan Lowas back in the 1980s for working with children with autism. Two objectives of discrete trial is that: number one, it shapes the behavior of learners through their use of repetitive and cause-and-effective learning. 2. It helps autistic children learn new skills. Discrete trial is used to teach new skills or behavior by repetition until children are able to do so by themselves, which means that the teacher breaks their knowledge skills, what they know, into smaller pieces, or what they don't know into smaller pieces, and they build on that. Discrete trial is used to teach a new skill or positive behavior by repetition until children are able to do so themselves. Thank you.
The teaching method social story. A social story is a learning tool that helps parents, professionals, and children with special education needs send the exchange information with each other in a way that's meaningful and understandable to the child. They were invented in the 1990s by autism consultant Carol Gray. It is a written narrative with accompanying pictures made to illustrate certain situations, problems, and challenges, and how children and adults with autism spectrum conditions, ASC, and other special educational needs, and children with anxieties to understand social norms and learn how to communicate with others appropriately. The objectives of social story are: 1. Teaching autistic and anxious children how to join in activities, use their imagination, and play with others. Secondly, allowing children with special needs to understand their behaviors as well as others' behavior. How schools can use Social stories. Teachers can use social stories in schools by creating short narratives that describe social situations and appropriate behavior. Social stories can be used to teach social skills such as sharing, taking turns, and making friends. Teachers can also use social stories to help students with autism spectrum disorder, ASD, understand social situations and expectations. Social stories can be read aloud to the class, or individual students can read them on their own. By using social stories, teachers can help students with ASD learn social skills and improve their social interactions with peers. Another teaching method is teach. Training and education of autistic and related communication handicapped children, teach, founded by Dr. Eric Stolper in 1972, is a structured teaching approach that is used to support individuals with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. The teach method emphasizes the use of visual supports, structured activities, and individualized instruction. The objectives of teach are: 1. Promote independence. This method helps individuals with autism develop their independence and functional skills. This is achieved by structuring the environment and tasks in a way that supports their unique strengths and challenges. The method aims to provide visual supports and clear organization to facilitate understanding and engagement in various activities. Secondly, enhancing communication and social skills. This method improves communication and social skills in individuals with autism. The approach includes strategies that encourage communication, interaction, and social engagement with others, promoting positive social experiences and reducing potential barriers to communication. How schools can use teach method? Schools can use teach method by: teachers and therapists using the teach method may use visual supports, structured activities, and individualized instruction to help students with ASD understand expectations and routines.
Differentiated instruction. In the education circle, Carol Ann Tomlinson is known as the guru of differentiated. Her researcher-based work, such as High Demand, that she has made more than 2 presentations and keynotes, addresses the school district and professional association across the country. Differentiated instruction is the process of tailoring lessons to meet each student's individual interests, needs, and strengths. Teaching this way gives students choices and flexibility in how they learn and apply themselves, enabling students to meet their goals. 2 objectives of differentiated instruction are: 1. Offer students to have options and choose form of assessment in lesson plans. 2. Provide multiple texts and types of learning materials. How differentiated instruction is used. 1. Flexible grouping, which include whole class learning pairs, student-selected groups, teacher-student groups, and random groups. 2. Variety of management strategies such as learning centers, interest-centered, teaching bodies, etc. This is used to help target instruction to meet the student needs. Another teaching method is Melia teaching. Melia teaching was first described by Hart and Roger Warren, 1978, as a collection of naturalistic instruction procedures that build on incidental teaching and methods described by Hart and Risley, 1975. The Melia teaching practice does not have a single developer, though several groups of investigators have produced information and materials from this practice. Melia teaching is a practice that involves manipulating or arranging stimuli in the preschool child's natural environment to create a setting that encourages them to engage in a target behavior. How Melia teaching is used? Melia teaching can be used in several ways, such as: 1. arranging environment to promote spontaneous requesting by the child. 2. Use of time delay, that is expectant waiting, to encourage communication. 3. Training in everyday environments. Objectives of milieu teaching. 1. Milieu teaching increase the child's use of specific requesting behavior, and 2. It promotes teaching related to grammatical forms and vocabulary.
Direct instructions. Who developed it? Originating from the work of Engelmann and colleagues in the 1960s, it is a systematic model of teaching focusing on a sequence and incremental mastery of the curriculum-based components and the capacity to apply generalizable skills to tackle other similar questions or problems. Adams and Engelmann, 1986. Two objectives of this method. All children are teachable and have potential to improve academically. Lower performing or less advanced students should be taught at an accelerated pace to catch up with the higher performing peers. Specific implementation of direct instructions involve communicate learning goals to orient students to learn. Examine if student possess the knowledge and skills needed to understand new lesson. Pivotal response. Who developed it? This was developed by Lynn and Robert Kegel and initially called the natural language paradigm. K-Paul Odell and K-Paul, 1987. Grounded in applied behavior analysis and developmental approaches, PRT targets pivotal areas such as motivation, responsively to multiple clues, self-management, and self-initiations. Two objectives of this method. Working with multiple clues to encourage behavior. Encourage initiations by child. How it is used? It is less drill-like and more motivating and flexible. It includes task variations so that children stay engaged, and easy and hard tasks are alternative so that children can continue to gain confidence and not get frustrated by the increasingly harder tasks.
The method that I'll be looking at today is errorless learning. So according to Charles Vester, 1950, errorless learning is a method that aims to prevent students from giving wrong answers. It is a type of shaping and is based on a very frequent repetition of the question and the correct answer. Errorless learning was an instructional design introduced by psychologist Charles Vester in the 1950s as part of his studies on what would make the most effective learning environment. Objectives of the method are to reduce or eliminate errors during the learning process. Secondly, to help individuals feel successful and motivated to continue learning. Errorless learning can be effectively used in virtual settings to support students' learning and minimize errors in many ways, such as clear and structured instructions. This is where teachers break down tasks into smaller steps and provide explicit guidance on how to complete each step accurately. 2. Visual cues and prompts. This is where teachers use visual diagrams and multimedia elements to provide additional support and guide students towards the correct response.
In conclusion, it can be seen that teaching methods are the broader techniques used to help students achieve learning outcomes, while activities are the different ways of implementing these methods. Teaching method helps students master the context of the course, learn how to apply the content in a particular context. Traditional teaching methods have been used for centuries to teach students. Teaching today's generation call for a change in education approach for conventional to be more comprehensive. Communicative and technological ways of which conventional teaching methods make students uninterested in class, discourage, bored, stop trying and accomplishing tasks, do poorly in tests, and makes learner passive. So to overcome such issues, these teaching methods have been introduced to make learning more interesting and provide the opportunity for learners to grasp and achieve concepts. Thank you.